Tanya, thank you so much for being here on Spark TV. I am so excited to have you. We have known each other in some degree in different businesses for years and years and years. So that's why I reached out, because I have followed your journey and think you are absolutely amazing. So thank you for spending. Thank you. So thank you for spending your time and having a little vino with me today.
My
Love it. So why don't we kick things off and talk to the Spark community about how you got to actually starting a business. Now, I know you have 3 businesses, so tell us what the career journey was and what the spark was to actually start a business and where you are now.
Cool. Well, I've always been in the sort of marketing, sales, digital sort of space throughout my whole career. Worked in lots of different roles as we do. And then in 2014, I was made redundant for a role. And I figured, what do I do now? I didn't want to do what I was doing. And I always look at worst case and best case scenario when I make decisions. I go, what's the worst case? And I went, well, the worst case is that I have to go back to work and like if this business idea doesn't work, I have to go back and work for someone. Can I do that? Yeah, I could probably do that. So I just figured
the world won't end. Yep.
Yeah, why not? So I had a little bit of money in the bank, and I went, what the hell? I'll give it a go for 3 months. Let's just see what happens. If I've got to go back to work, I go back to work. And the idea was around what I called traditional marketing originally, which was around helping people bridge that gap between traditional marketing and digital, and how the two come together and so forth, and strategy and tactics and all that sort of stuff. And look, like any business, it evolves and changes over times, and it, you go here and you go there, and we're just talking before about ideas and going in different directions. But it's been 8 years. So, wow. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that it's been 8 years in business. And look, it looks a little
bit flies, doesn't it?
Oh my God, it goes so fast. I have just a few more wrinkles than what I did when I started.
That's why we cover the grays. Yes.
But look, it's been a great journey. I love the flexibility around running my business, and being in the digital space, the marketing space, I can literally work from anywhere. I just say I need a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection and a phone, and I literally will do that. So I travel a lot. I'm heading to Cairns in a couple of days, and I'll go up there, I'll do a bit of work and there's a bit of play and so forth. So I think that's what I really love about it. And I think if I had to go and work for someone, I would really struggle with actually being in an office all the time and not being my own boss and making my own rules. So look, it's been a fantastic journey. Along the way, then I decided to do, just add more to your plate, because why not?
Absolutely. You don't need sleep. If one lesson, you don't need sleep.
Absolutely. So in 2018, I wrote a book. And it was called A Child-Free Happily Ever After. And it was about my choice not to have children, and interviewing women from all around the world and looking at all different scenarios. So women who are child-free by choice, by circumstance, mums who love being mums, and mums who regretted it. And just sharing a lot of stories on why women have all this pressure and so forth. So off the back of that, naturally evolved a business, and it's, designed to help women who are struggling to make that decision, struggling with the pressure that women face, and start up a whole big conversation. And that's a global community of people who I have in that sort of space. And, and that's what a book can do for you, I suppose. And it's been so fantastic to just meet and become friends with women all over the world, who are also, child-free by choice. So that sort of plugs along, and it's not, I don't do a lot in there, and I focus a lot on that last year. I've had to shift focus back to digital conversations. And then, of course, in the middle of a pandemic, why not start another business?
Timing. I love it.
So I started, we've been dog sitting for probably 8 or 9 years, but I actually wanted to start my own brand around that and do more with that. So I started 3 Sport Dogs, and 3 Sport Dogs is a dog sitting service. So we have, some daycare dogs, we have weekends, long stays, and so forth. But my vision for that is very much long term. So it's when hubby retires, I want him to come in, and I want him to learn behavioral training and bring sort of other areas in, and I want to create some cool products. And so it was more a longer term plan of, we're going to productize and we're going to do some other things. So so it's, so between the 3 of them, it keeps me a little bit busy. So I go, thank God I don't have kids, because I don't know what the word they would fit.
I know. Look, to be honest, I don't know how mums do it. All of the respect to the mums.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
just crazy. Now, well, and that is my next question to you is, how the heck do you do it all? Because that's so much on your plate. How do you find time for you and sanity?
Oh, look, I'm a very good scheduler.
Mm-hmm.
I am super duper organized, and I have lists everywhere. So I have
Excellent.
lists on my phone. I have written lists.
I'm like just looking at a list that I haven't done. Yep.
Absolutely. You can relate, right?
Yep.
So there's lists of stuff. So that keeps me on track and I often lose priorities and stuff. And I go, oh, look, there's a sale on such and such. And I'm as we do online. But yeah, I have to be very organized with my time. I'm very lucky that that Three Sport Dogs is very much a complementary business for me. So I can literally be sitting here working and just be surrounded by puppy love while they're sleeping on the floor or they're playing. And so I don't have to be constantly, looking at them, because they're usually around me. So that's a little bit easier to manage. But look, it also helps to have a very supportive husband as well.
Yes.
So, hubby is a tradie. He works at, sort of set hours. He finishes early. So if I need him to do things, I mean, he does all my baths and he does different. I'll go, honey, this needs to be done. This dog needs to be picked. This dog's getting picked up. So I delegate things to him a lot as well. So, but it's really important to have that supportive partner, because there's stuff that I just said to him earlier. I'm going to need more help from you with certain things, because the next couple of weeks me looks insane. So when I ask you to do something, can you please do it?
Yeah.
But I think, when you're running multiple businesses, or even if you've just got one, like, you have to be organized, and you have to delegate where you need to delegate, and you have to look at priorities and go, well, what needs to be done and by when, and what can move. And it's just a matter of managing your time accordingly, and you just make it work. I love the saying, if you give a busy person you give a busy person something, they'll get it done.
Yes.
And that rings true for me all the time. People will go, if Tanya says she'll do it, she will do it, and she'll get it done. Doesn't matter how busy she is, she'll just make it happen. And I think so many busy people that I know are the same. They just make stuff happen.
Yeah. And it's interesting too. I mean, finding what works for you. I mean, we just kind of said, lists everywhere, scheduling, calendars, but I think everyone works differently, right? Like, I mean, literally I'm holding a notebook and a texter, because I'm like, I need to physically write it down. I've tried so many like organization tools and online things. And I'm like, get with the technology, woman. And I'm like, nah, I just need it on a piece of paper in front of me and it will happen. So either that, or it's got to be in my diary, either one of those places, and we are okay.
Yeah. And that's it. You've got to do what works for you 100%, because like some people, I know a few people who are like OCD with their lists, and I literally will write something on the list just so I can cross it off, because I'll be like, oh, that's because I love that feeling of going,
me too. Those endorphins, give me those endorphins.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So obviously super important to stay organized and, write everything down, all those good things. What about challenges? Running through businesses, surely you've run into a few challenges over the years.
Yeah. Look, time is always a big one for me. When I say time, I talk about people having respect for my time. Yeah. So I hate people being late. So whether it's an online meeting, whether it's someone that's dropping a dog off, whether it's, whatever it is, I find when people are just blasé about time, really infuriates me, because my time is so precious. And my husband does it as well. I'm like, oh my God, who's got time? What are you doing? Hurry up. Like, I'm so time conscious with things, because I jam pack so much in. And it's really an issue for me. And I just find it really disrespectful when people don't respect other people's time. So that's a big one for me in terms of what I don't like, and a challenge for me.
Have you found a good way to communicate that with people who are not prompt?
Well, there's obviously certain ways of doing that, and I always manage when I'm onboarding new clients. I've got a little thing that I send them, and I'm like, and I mention to them that time is very valuable, and if things can't get, just be mindful of respecting each other's time and stuff like that. So there's little things, and it's just a matter of reminding people sometimes that, or
planting the seed.
I'll be like, sorry, you're 15 minutes late, I have to go because I've got another meeting. So it only takes usually someone doing that once, where you go, well, you soon learn that. And I always find that that it's usually the people who are less secure that like to make you wait.
Yes.
As well, it's like a power play thing, and I'm like, I don't like to play games. I'm
yeah. Like I got an empire to build. You can do that on your own time.
yeah, play games over there.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's always a challenge. What else? I mean, there's lots of, I suppose, challenges. Obviously, cash flow and making sure there's enough coming in to pay the bills at times is a bit scary as well. So as much as there are so many amazing things about running a business and having that flexibility and the balance and making your own calendar and doing all that sort of stuff, then, sometimes, it can get pretty stressful. You're like, oh my God, like, have I got enough there to cover what needs to be paid and pay the mortgage? And, there are certainly times like that. So it really is, when people talk about it being a roller coaster, it really is like these great times. And then there's, oh my God, what's happened? And then it's just this good and crap and everything. And it just, I kept waiting for it to be all just smooth sailing. And I'm like,
I'm waiting for that too.
When is it going to happen?
Damn it.
Like at some point, it's just all going to just be seamless and easy. And
I know. I'm like, if I just hit here, then my life will be stress-free. Apparently not.
I'm figuring out that that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
why we drink the wine, Tanya.
Absolutely. Yes, I probably should have bought shares in a wine company when I started the business, I think.
Oh my God, that would have been brilliant. Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, we all have different challenges in business, and I think they've changed over time as well.
Yeah.
When I first started to where they are now, and depending on what's happening at that given point in time, and obviously COVID happened, and that presented its own challenges that no one expected. So, look, I think you just have to roll with it. So I think I'm okay with change. Like, I sort of embrace it and go, okay, well, this shit's happening and this shit's real.
Yeah.
So I can either complain about it and whine about it and mope and just be like, oh, poor me, or I can do something about it. And that's typically where I'll go. I might have a bit of a whinge and complain and go, right, now, what are we going to do to make this happen, and what can we change? So I've always got a pretty positive attitude about that sort of stuff, and being able to turn things around in my mind pretty quickly in terms of going, okay, that's crap. Now what's the plan?
Yeah.
And I think in business, that's probably important to be able to do that. Otherwise you can really go down a rabbit hole, and even mentally just, it's hard to get out of it if you can't sort of roll with the punches.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point, because I find it interesting. So Scrunch, my other business, been in business for 10 years, COVID hit, and, obviously, and I don't want to discount what everyone went through, because it was like horrendous. But when I looked at it, I went, this is just another problem. Like, I have had problems every year that I've been in business. Yeah. This is just a new thing to deal with. And yes, it was probably the biggest problem and the one that went on for the longest, but you've got to have that mindset of if it's not COVID, it will be something else. There'll be some kind of natural disaster, or a new technology come out, or your customers have changed, or whatever it is. There's always a problem. Like, having that ability to say, okay, cool, get it, have a little cry, have a little whine, now how are we going to move forward and solve it?
Absolutely. And I think it's really important to have that sort of attitude towards it, because you don't win in the doom and gloom. Like, you can sit there and be like, oh, poor me, this is all crap. But like, it doesn't achieve anything. It makes you feel like crap. It doesn't help you, move your business forward. So you just have to go, okay, it was a pretty shitty thing that happened or whatever, and let's have a plan to change things and make the future a rosier place. And I think having that ability makes a big difference to how you come out of it as a business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, interesting, speaking of challenges, problems, all of the good things. So, having the business, the child-free by choice, I'm really interested. Obviously, that's a very, female-oriented issue. Have you, what's your lens on being a woman in business? You've obviously explored social issues that women face. And, I live in the camp of decided not to have kids as well. My businesses are my babies. Yes, thank you. But it is super interesting, right? Because it's not like I don't have people who are like, so really? Like, really?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, really? Do I have to talk about this again?
Yeah.
So obviously it's a very, I guess, more of a social issue than a women in business issue, but it then sort of, I think then you've probably got a lens on women in business, and, have you had any, challenges in that respect, or, where do you think we all stand?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one. Like, I've found that, particularly in my world and my business community, like most people have been in that space with me for a long time. They know me, they know the choices that I've made. They're very supportive of that. I've always been very mindful to support myself with women who are supportive of my choices and vice versa. So, even in my friendship group, a lot of my friends have kids. But I'm fine to be the rock star only that comes in, feeds them sugar and goes home. But they accept my choices and are very happy with my choices, just as I am with them. So my lens around this conversation is all about what I call the C word, which is choice. Women doing what is right for them.
Yeah.
So whether they want 10 kids, whether they want one, whether they want none, it's no one else's business. They should be allowed to make their own rules and do what's right for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. And look, as a business owner, I haven't really come up a lot against sort of people going or saying that they're not going to use my services because I'm not a mom or any of that sort of stuff. So I've been lucky in that respect. I have been to the odd networking event where, as we know, the first thing you get asked when you go to a networking event as a female is, oh, so how many kids do you have?
Yeah.
And what I'd like to see is a change in dialogue around that, because I'm at a networking event. Children have absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I'm here at a work event anyway. And I think the issue is that so many women relate to each other on that level of going, well, you're a mum and I'm a mum. Okay, so that we've got some commonality right there.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a Commonwealth Bank event actually, and I'd never had this reaction before, but I remember a woman asking me, and when I said, "Oh no, I'm not having kids. I don't want them," she was really like, oh, like visibly like, "Oh," and I was just like, "Oh, is there a problem with that?" And she was like, "Oh no, and she literally did not know what to say.
Wow.
You could
Yeah.
obviously see, and she was a mum, and she was like, I could literally see her face going, "I've got no idea what I'm going to talk to you about now." And I was a bit like, and I said, well, everyone makes their life choices and whatever. And I said, I'm happy for everyone and what they do. And you could see, and she very quickly scuttled off somewhere else. And it was just like, really?
Wow.
Like, you can't have a conversation with someone who's not a mother. I can have a conversation who's with a mother. Like, so it's interesting that it doesn't, it pops up in event sort of situations. I remember being at another event a few years ago, which was a women in business event. And for some reason, when everyone hopped up and introduced themselves, it became this thing to go, how many kids you had? Well, I'm a mum with 3 kids, or blah, blah. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Again, we're at a business event and it was small business owners. How is that relevant to you being able to be a good business owner?
Yeah.
Well, I find that sometimes it's just not relevant. Like, that's not a conversation that needs to happen in this particular space. And it comes up a lot, I think, around those types of things when it's a networking event or a bit women. And don't even start me on the whole mumpreneur thing.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like, do we have to have a word for everything? Like, I'm a child-freepreneur, I'm a mumpreneur. I just like, really, we're just business owners. Like, just
yeah. And I think that there's something in that though that worries me, because so we work in the influencer space, and when people call themselves influencers, they forget they're business owners. And mumpreneurs the same. They think they're just running this small hobby business, and they limit themselves because they kind of cast that, well, I'm just doing this from home, it's just a hobby. But then there's this not failure to understand, but again, limiting to understanding on all of the best business practices to actually doing things properly. And I've seen some run into a few issues, because they're kind of thinking of themselves that way. So I just like the idea of, maybe we're just business owners, maybe we all live in this ecosystem where are these set of rules that we probably need to follow to, be legally and financially sound. And, it's just really interesting.
And everything. There's a preneur of something, like there's a business that preneur. It's just like, and I'm the same. I'm not a fan of that word, because I just think, well, I've got 3 businesses, but I don't class myself as an entrepreneur. I just class myself as a business owner.
Yeah.
Because that's how I see myself. I'm like, I don't want to put titles and tags on everything that we do. And I think that we're in a space at the moment in the business world where that's happening a lot. There's got to be, you've got to attach a certain identity to something or a certain word. It's just like, why do we have to be? And I always say to people, why do I have to be one thing? It's the same as, this whole issue of motherhood. Well, you're more than a mother anyway. Often you're a partner, you're a sister, you're a business owner, you're a friend, career is, or you're you're a blogger, or we wear all these hats as women. And I just find it very limiting just to give yourself one title. And that's why I call myself the chief of everything.
Yes.
Because I don't just do one thing. Like I'm in charge of everything that's in my world. And I don't want to just be limited by one thing either. Like I want to be like this diamond with lots of facets and lots of different sides to me, because I think, one, I'm never going to get bored. That's who we are as people as well. Like we have so many different sides and parts to our life. And business owners is one part of that as well. So, I just think, why limit yourself? Make your own rules and do what works for you.
Yeah, we went through this funny stage in business where everyone was like, you've got to niche down. You can only concentrate on one thing. You've got to focus, And I'm like, I love that right now it's kind of, there's a resurfacing of the multi-passionate entrepreneur.
Yes, I love that word.
Yeah, I love it too. I love it too. Because I also have, I guess, you back to the when we weren't recording, you have so many ideas and, half of them are written down on that said piece of paper that I'm like, please do not do anything else other than what you need to do. But I think it's okay as well. Some of the, I've obviously focused down to 2 businesses now instead of 4, which I'm feeling very good about. But, there's nothing wrong with that. Everything I learned in all of the things, the projects I started, the businesses I've run and exited, like that is what makes me a really good business owner, because of all of those different experiences. Yeah. And if I was just like, nope, I can't do anything but focus on influencer marketing, I wouldn't know all of the things that I know today.
Yeah. And I think it gives you that to allow yourself to have space to explore different things as well. Even if you go, well, I'm just going to, see what happens. If it works, it works. Or, just allow it. Because I think there's so much pressure for success as well, where it's like, oh, if you're not achieving, and I think there's a lot of social media contributes to this, because it's all like, oh, you can, if you're not turning over 6 figures and doing this and doing that.
I hate the 6 figure, 7 figure.
They throw all these numbers around. That's not, well, one, it's not right for everyone. Sometimes it's putting unrealistic expectations. Everyone's different. And it puts this expectation of you have to be doing this, and if you're not doing that, then you're a failure. And it's just dangerous.
It's so dangerous.
Yeah. And that sort of stuff contributes to people's mental health and how they're feeling about their business, and going, oh my God, am I doing it all wrong? Am I a huge failure? And I think you've got to give yourself the freedom and the permission to go, you know what, I'm just going to just see what happens. And I'm just going to, and I think if you always look at that best case and worst case scenario, like I've always, I've never borrowed money to go into any businesses. I've always bootstrapped it. I've always played it safe in terms of risk. And I've always gone, well, what if it doesn't work? Then it's cost me that amount of money, and next.
Yeah.
I think you can't get caught up in that whole success thing and that whole thing. It's what is success anyway? What it means to me could be totally different to what it means to you or someone else.
Yeah. And I think that is such a good point, because it's so easy to get caught behind the headlines. It's really interesting. I saw this post from someone the other day who was like, you see this, oh, I had $100,000 launch, but you don't know that they spent $90,000 getting it to happen. So they made no money,
Absolutely.
And so you've really got to, I think, sit down and actually understand what's important for you and what you want your life to look like. And for some people, it's interesting. I went through that phase of, we raised capital for Scrunch. We moved into this massive office space, grew the team, and we thought that was the definition of success. And I hated it. We have completely flipped the switch. We all work completely remotely now. We do lots of agency outsourcing. Like the model has completely changed from what I thought a successful business was supposed to look like. Yeah. And, you still see in media today, the unicorns, they raised this much capital. They've just, moved into a new office. They've got growing the team, all those things. And it's like, that is what's celebrated. So why don't we start celebrating other forms of success and what success looks like for individuals.
Absolutely. And that's what I mean. And I mean, you look at, there's so many stories of people doing that they go and they raise all these millions of dollars, and it looks like this, on the outside, it looks like a massive success. And then it all fails and goes under it. And you just go, whether they grew too big too fast, whether it was so much of it is ego driven because it's what it looks like to the world.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care what people think of what I'm doing. I just need to be secure with it and happy with what I'm doing. And if people think that I should be bigger or should be this, I'm like, that's on them. Like that's up to them to deal with, not me. Like I'm just doing my thing, and I same thing. I work from home. I go out and I do meetings and stuff like that. And I love the fact that I can work from anywhere that I want. I don't have to have offices and I don't have to have staff, and I'm making all those choices for what's right for me.
Yeah.
And I think every female founder should do that. If you want to have an office with staff, go ahead. If that works for you. If you don't, then that's fine as well. There's no right or wrong. And I think that's where the dialogue needs to change around this whole conversation of people going, well, that's the right way to do it, and that's what you should do. Well, no, because everyone's totally different. Your vision's different, what you're trying to achieve, how you work. We're all individuals. And I think we need to celebrate that rather than going, well, you've done it the right way and you've done it the wrong way.
Yeah.
There is no right or wrong way.
Yeah, exactly right. No, I love that. And I think that that's what contributes to your ability to show up in your business as well. You know, like when you're not enjoying what you're doing and it's, you know, not in alignment with your values, that's where it gets really hard to get out of bed every day.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
So then on that topic, how do you stay motivated? How do you look after you and keep up the energy to run 3 businesses?
Well, this helps.
Yes, absolutely. I'm on board.
That helps. But look, I've always been pretty self-motivated my whole life. Like I've always been that sort of person who can be like, right, get up to this. And so I've never needed anyone to push me in that respect. I'm very big on balance as well. So, you know, because I do work from home, obviously I have the ability, like, you know, we've got a beautiful pool area out the back. So in particular in summer, I'll go, right, that's it. I'm having half an hour. I'm going to read outside by the pool for half an hour. Everything can wait.
Yes.
So I'm good at creating those boundaries and just going, well, you know what, I need to have, because I know how important having the downtime is as well, because I know when I have that downtime and I'm not crazily rushing through my day, that lets me breathe, reboot. I get ideas, it sparks, you know, keeps my brain fresh and working. It's when I rush through and be like, oh my God, I'm so crazy, that it's not healthy for anyone. So I'm good at that balance. I'm good at taking time out. So I travel a lot. I have long weekends, you know, do all that sort of stuff. I typically finish work normally by about lunchtime on a Friday because hubby finishes work.
Nice.
By then, but then there's, you know, most of the time I'm doing bits and pieces over the weekend and I'm jumping in and out and stuff. But again, I can create my week how I need it to. The last couple of days have been really busy. So I've been at my desk at, you know, 6:30 in the morning. You know, I do like to exercise. So typically I'll be up early and I'll start my day with some exercise. So then I feel motivated and I feel focused and so forth. I haven't been so good on that the last couple of weeks. But you know,
right, it's good the ebbs and flows, you know, though. It's good. Like I'm so like not a morning person. Everyone's like, gotta get up at 5 a.m. and do all the things. I'm like, absolutely not. But you know, but I feel like, you know, you come in and out of energy, you know, and some days you show up 7 days a week and I'm on the treadmill, and other weeks I have had too much wine that week, you know.
Yeah. And I think you just got to accept that. Like there's been all these circumstances that have impacted me not being able to, you know, go to F45 in the morning at, you know, in my normal class times and stuff like that. I'm like, it is what it is. I'll just work around it and then I'll be back there probably next week or whatever. But it's just being accepting of that and not putting too many boundaries on yourself makes a difference. But for me, I just make my days work for me. I make sure I have that balance and that downtime. I think that's super, super, super important for everybody.
Yeah.
To do that and know when your body's telling you that you need a break. So if you're sitting there and you've typed the same thing 10 times or you've read over something and you're going, nothing's sinking in, that's saying
you're staring aimlessly at the computer.
Step away from the computer, go and do something else for an hour. And come back. You know, you need to. But I think we've got to listen to our bodies more as well. And what are they telling us? If we get in there and we're squinting and we can't say anything because we're so tired, that doesn't help anyone, least of all you.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're so right. And I think that it's really interesting. I think so personally, I came from corporate first and then started businesses, and you're in such a rigid 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5. I found that when I had a team, I was like, oh, I've got to sit here at my desk for till 5 o'clock because I've got to show everybody what being a good worker looks like, even though I'd go home and work for the rest of the night anyway. But I think that, figuring out what works best for you and how, you show up and where your energy is. Some people are great early in the morning. Some people are great late at night. For me, I'm exactly the same. If I just go, 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 no creative work, no CEO work gets done. It's all just push, and it's all just, keeping things the status quo. And I feel tremendously guilty when I have downtime. But like, if I pick up a book and start reading, it's like all the ideas flow. And I'm like, why don't you do this more? But you just give yourself a hard time about it.
I'm just going to read this book now. And then you're just like, nothing's going to distract me. And then all of a sudden you'll get this great idea. And you're like, oh, I have to go
I got to go write a course. I'll be back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your brain's relaxed. So you're giving it time to think.
Yes.
And that's so important.
Oh my God. I don't think growth and any growth in business happens if you don't actually have that downtime.
Absolutely. 500%.
Yeah. So then, okay, so lots of people tuning into Spark TV, early stage business owners or people who want to take the leap into starting their business and might be feeling a little bit nervous, anxious, not sure. Do you have any advice for new business owners or new founders, just to kind of kick them off and get them started? Anything you wish someone had told you?
Yes. I wish I had probably a bit more money in the bank to back me through those starting months and so forth.
Yeah.
Just in terms of, I hadn't thought of, because I wasn't obviously expecting to start a business either. So, I was working corporate and spending everything that I earned pretty much.
Yeah.
So I wish I had been a bit more prepared from a financial point of view. I wish I hadn't have spent so much time faffing around with getting a website done and business cards and all that sort of stuff. I think if I had my time over again, I would have just started going and meeting with people, trying to land more clients faster and having more of those conversations, because I think it's really easy to go, well, hang on, I need to spend 2 months doing a website and I have to have pretty business cards and I have to have all these pretty bits that we go and we get, which don't actually really need to get started, So I think I'd probably flip the way that I'd do some of that. And look, I think if you can start it with minimum risk, as I said, I bootstrapped it and went, what can I do? What are the bare minimum things that I need to run the business? So I need an internet connection and I need a phone and I need, certain things, and I need to host my website. And there was certain that you have to look at going, well, what do I need and what do I not need? And look, those costs have gone up over time because I've, gotten a bit more advanced in how I've done certain things. So you need different tools that are more expensive and all that sort of stuff, as you know. But starting out, I was like, bare minimum. What is it that I need that I can keep the costs like way down, like working from home? What can I get rid of? What do I have to have? Because that's going to help you obviously have more money to be able to spend where you need it to pay the bills and so forth. So I think it's just, and have a plan of some sort. It doesn't have to be a massive, big plan of going, well, I'm going to do this. Have something where you think, well, this is who my audience is going to be. This is what the core services are going to be. And that will evolve and change over time. Don't get too set in your ways. And if things are pushing you in a certain direction, be able to tweak what you're doing and go, well, you know what, that's sort of things are sending me that way. And maybe there's opportunities there that I need to be exploring. So don't be set in your ways and be okay to change and go with the flow and stuff. I think that will take you where you need to go sometimes as well. And sometimes it's somewhere where you didn't expect.
Yeah.
And it just happens, and it happens for a reason. You go, wow, that was the right thing. So you just don't know. You just got to try things.
I love that so much. So a bit more cash in the bank, have a plan and go lean. So don't spend time on like faffing about with websites and bits and pieces. Go after customers ASAP.
You don't need to go and spend $10,000 on a website. That's just crazy.
Oh my God. No, I literally say that to people now. I'm like, for Squarespace costs $30. Go in there and do it yourself. And then try and sell it. And if someone buys, then maybe improve it later. But you've got to work on actually solving a customer's problem first.
Absolutely.
I only say that because I did it the wrong way as well. I spent thousands of dollars on websites and technology and all of those things. And I was like, what is wrong with me?
But the good thing is that you learn from your mistakes and you go, next time I'll do it better and I'll do it differently.
Exactly. And that's what this is all about. It's like, if we can make the mistakes and pass them on so people don't have to, then we have done our job here today.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Well, you are absolutely fantastic, Tanya. Thank you for spending a virtual wine with me and the Spark community. Cheers. And well, absolutely. We'll wrap it here. And thank you. You are a legend. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Danielle.